nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First great podcast as well. Of course, Kylian Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
Hello and welcome to the Managing Madrid podcast. This is your host, Kylian Sabani. We're recording this about 12 minutes after Real Madrid get the job done 2-0 versus Real Betis at the Santiago Bernabeu in what was a relieving win. Just, whew. It's one of those games where, at halftime, 0-0, you haven't broken the deadlock yet. In a normal game, maybe in a normal season, when you're halfway through, when you've already won a bunch of games, maybe you're first place, it's not quite as alarming to be in that situation. But given the context of this season so far, the first three games being what they were, we've dissected them to death. Just the collective anxiety in the stadium, the collective anxiety among the fan base, the collective anxiety among each you could feel it. I mean, I'm trying to describe it, but you could really feel it. Even when Mbappé missed the offside moment, like he was offside, he puts it over the net. You're like, oh my God, I know it was offside, but you can't even finish that. What's going on? So there was just a sense of relief to get this done. And my voice is shot up because I was really, really celebrating that goal. Like you guys, man, I am a journalist covering this team, but I have never been, it's not a secret that I'm also a very passionate Madridistas and Spurs. So it was a huge relief for me as well to see the team in that situation. I've been calling for patience for a long time. And look, there are still things that need to be adjusted. There are still things that need to improve. But we're heading into the international break now with time to figure this out. With a W, with an Mbappé brace, he broke the deadlock. I know he scored against Atalanta, but it was nice to kind of get the monkey off the back in La Liga and score 2 goals. The unselfish gesture by Vini to not only win the penalty, but to also hand it to Mbappé, also to me sent a message to the entire media and everyone who criticizes the egos and talks about the disharmony and makes up stories about what's going on behind the scenes. And it's just so many fabricated things that are easy to just come up with and write because the team is struggling putting together its best version when it's really trying to find its feet in the post-Cruz era with a new superstar in town. I just thought it was a lot of angles that were just coming at the team and a lot of pessimism and a lot of just bad vibes. I don't know how else to put it. It was nice to see it happen today the way it did. The 2 goals from Mbappé and the gesture from Vinicius to give the penalty to Mbappé. And of course, the most important thing, which is Real Madrid get 3 points. They cut the lead to 4, which is a crazy thing to say in itself after 4 games. But we needed this. The fan base needed this. The team needed this. Everyone needed this. So it's great. So let's break it down. I also wanted to give, holy shit, the chat is popping off. I had no idea. I'm going to just give a quick shout out to Alex C, who just became a YouTube member. Welcome to the family. And a quick super chat to start from Yalim, who says, reading that Arda went straight to the locker room. Can't blame the guy. I believe none of the players that subbed in today should be entering before Arda. All right. Well, we're talking about Arda already. Let's start there. Cheers, everybody, by the way. No bubbly tonight. Coffee in our favorite Hey Jude mug. I think the Arda discussion, we can tie that into the starting lineup. So when I saw the starting lineup today, obviously the surprising name was Dani Ceballos. And with Dani Ceballos, we have spoken so much in the past of his specific profile. And this goes back to last season. There were games where Kroos and Modric both couldn't play. It was rare, but it happened. And in those games, our ball progression suffered tremendously. And we always said, why aren't we playing Ceballos more? Obviously, he had a big injury last season. And when he played, he wasn't really playing well. His best football at Real Madrid came two seasons ago Um, I guess it would have actually been 3 seasons ago, not two. I'm thinking about the Champions League winning season, 2022. So that was probably, yeah, his performances off the bench. And then the next season, I thought he played well too. But last season he was injured, and when he played, he didn't play well. The point being was that Dani Ceballos, as Matt put it on Twitter, this was a huge opportunity for him because on one hand, Real Madrid desperately need his profile. If he can play at his best level, that's something that Real Madrid could desperately need. On the other hand, if he doesn't play well, like this is not a great look for him because he has had so many opportunities over the past year and hasn't really looked well. And I think for what it's worth, Arda Güler has looked really good for a long time. I think his first start of the season, which was against Valladolid, he grew into that game after a slow start, but he was doing the right things. And then off the bench against Las Palmas, in a game that was largely to forget and no one wants to remember it because the team was so bad, he actually was a good spark plug off the bench and he played well and he created two great chances, and his verticality in that game really helped. He had that through ball to Mbappé in the right half space, and then he had that ball to Endrick, created two really good chances in that game. Based on merit, he definitely deserves to play. I mean, it's one thing for him not to start, but he didn't get on the field at all, which definitely surprised me. I figured that Ancelotti going with someone like Ceballos over Arda Güler, who also fits the profile of a ball progressor and a different look to the line-breaking dribblers we have in the team, in Rodrigo and Vini and Mbappe, in Brahim, in Jude when he plays. I thought maybe the Ceballos introduction was in part because it gives us a left-sided presence to balance Fede Valverde's nature to be on the right. That being said, I thought Ceballos was really poor today. I think there were moments where he helped progress the ball, but he also made a ton of poor decisions on the ball. He gave the ball away. I actually took notes every time. If you guys think I'm making this up, 35th minute, 38th minute, 49th minute, 55th minute, and two of these in particular, although all of them were pretty bad, two of them in particular actually led to Real Betis coming at us with a very dangerous chance. And one of them was under pressure. He was in a very deep position and he just gave the ball away. And that was a moment where Betis pounced and they nearly scored from it. They couldn't get a good shot off in the end. I thought he was pretty poor overall because of the amount of times he gave the ball away in dangerous positions. Having said that, I don't really get why Arda Güler did not play at all. I mean, by the end of it, when it was 2-0, you had Endrick in, you had Brahim in, you had Modric in, who is going to pretty much enter almost any game state at this point because he helps control. Now, whether or not he played well is a different question, but, he helps control, he can help create, and he can slow the tempo down. So his profile is almost a given coming off the bench. So Arda didn't get in. I don't know about this thing about him going to the locker room, quite frankly, because I didn't really check anything after the game. But, we'll deal with stuff like that as they come. I did want to just remind you guys, I don't really have time to check the chat. I know it's crazy. I'm just going in based on the super chats. And as a disclaimer, and I mentioned this last time, as this channel grows and grows, the comments are just, I can't keep up with them. So I don't want to be rude. I just wanted to give you guys a quick disclaimer on that. Back to the game. I thought one of the key things in this game, the headline is Mbappe, but one of the key things I thought, and I don't know if this is going to go under the radar, Carvajal, and I'd say the right side in general, this was the best Carvajal game. And I know we're only a few games in, and I know he didn't start. I guess it was against, was it against Valladolid? He didn't start? Can't remember. But in the previous games up until this one, Ancelotti decided to give the fullbacks more conservative roles. In part because the attackers don't defend. And this was kind of his way of damage control defending in transition. And for that reason, whether it was Fran Garcia or Ferland Mendy, obviously Fran Garcia a little bit more adventurous, but Carvajal or Vasquez on the opposite side, they did not get into the final third much. They didn't create dangerous overloads. So a lot of the stuff we were talking about if you guys have seen that huge School of Real Madrid video we put up about how Kylian Mbappé will fit at Real Madrid, a lot of that video and a lot of the stuff we were talking about was like, yeah, it's going to be a left-sided heavy attack, but this is the benefit of uh, like having such a great fullback like Carvajal, having such a great right-sided player like Fede Valverde who can bomb up and down that right wing. If the possession is funneled to the left, when that diagonal switch comes to Carvajal or Fede, there's a ton of space to operate with, and then we can play cutbacks into the box. The two problems, one is that the obvious Toni Kroos ain't walking through that door, and the second thing was that Carvajal actually hasn't been getting up the field. And it's Vasquez, he hasn't been getting up the field much because of the need for a transition defense. So we were a little bit conservative with that. Today was the first day that we saw Carvajal be more adventurous. And that unlocked a lot of great offensive sequences for us in this game that we didn't have in previous games. So that was a huge plus for me. I don't want that to get swept under the radar. And I would say keep an eye on that, because I think that's huge. And we talked about so much of Real Madrid's success was because of Carvajal. He was one of the pillars of last season. He's been great for a long time now. And we didn't really have that version of Carvajal in the last few games. It is just one of the many problems that the team had. But having that version of Carvajal today was huge. And again, Mbappe is going to take the headlines. I didn't want to sweep the Carvajal performance under the rug, because to me, that's right up there with the headline. It won't be, but it should be. The great thing about Carvajal's offensive game too today was that he did not sacrifice any defense. He locked down Abde from start to finish, got in his head, bullied him around, pushed him around, dispossessed him. So defensively, he was great too. I think part of the concern you have with pushing Carvajal up and taking those gambles is that you're going to have a lot of space behind him, obviously. And there was one sequence in particular where he got caught, but he got caught in a position where he was just playing narrow. He wasn't caught up the field. The defense needs to be sorted out higher up the pitch in a lot of these situations, because the overfluidity of the front three can also hamper us defensively, not just with like when our press breaks down, press in air quotes press, because the press has been really bad for a long time now. But because we don't really know where Rodrigo, Mbappe, or Vinny are going to be off the ball at any given sequence, because they're roaming around, you're not sure where they're going to be defensively when we lose the ball as well. And that's going to hurt the space behind the fullbacks, and part of the reason why Ancelotti has been more conservative. Today, I thought Fede was great covering, and so was Militao. Militao was very good today too. Militao pretty much locked down Ruibal. So we got good coverage from Militao and Fede Valverde, and that leads kind of like into the Fede Valverde discussion, because that the entire right side was much better today. And that's another just a plus that we didn't really have in previous games. The Carvajal-Fede duo thrived on that right wing. And in the second half in particular, Fede started to drive the ball more in the right half space, and we got more opportunities from there. So I thought that was really encouraging to see. Often, like, it's such a simple thing, but when the game is locked, one of the cheat codes that we have that, in my opinion, I don't think we use often enough, is Fede Valverde just driving the ball forward through traffic. He's impossible to dispossess in those situations, and he just creates so much great offense for us, and defenses just collapse because they all converge on him trying to steal the ball, and all of a sudden we break with numbers. So he grew into the game as the game wore on, and obviously the assist was incredible, right? Like, unfortunately, I'm not allowed to show these clips on YouTube, but for copyright reasons, but I'd love to just watch it with you guys and just break it down together. The assist was incredible. On Mbappe, by the way, Hismeti, I'm going to remind you again, Hismeti, I asked you to clip this in the last podcast. You didn't clip it for social media. Put this on Instagram, Reels, TikTok, wherever else. YouTube Shorts. I said this before when we drop points against Las Palmas, and everyone was piling up on Kylian Mbappe. Book it. Mbappe is going to score over 40 goals this season. Book it. Come back to this. Bookmark this. It's going to happen. Apart from the goals, I was really encouraged by Mbappe's performance today. I know, like, the thing is, when we're analyzing Kylian Mbappe's performances at Real Madrid, there's a certain standard and expectation we have of him, right? There's a low bar at Real Madrid right now in this moment, heading into this game, that, like, anything would have been better than what we've seen in the past few games. So when I say Kylian Mbappe was good this game, I'm also taking that into effect that we're going based on the last 3 games before this, and the bar is pretty low. So even just a little bit better is better, right? Is he still at his peak, at his best? In my opinion, no. But I was encouraged with his link-up play. I thought his link-up play and dropping deep, and I said this after the Atalanta game as well. His movements kind of remind me of Benzema in that he drops deep, he can shield the ball, he can hold it up, he can escape pressure with a turn, he can get the ball up the field. And the most impressive thing about him, to me, is how quickly he gets into a goal-scoring position after distributing the ball. So whether it's he sprays the ball out wide to Carvajal, or he gets it to Vini on the left, or he lays it off to Fede or Rodrigo, within seconds, he's cut across the face of goal and got himself into a goal-scoring position. This happened twice in particular in this game, and it's something that he's very good at. So I was encouraged with the Mbappe performance overall, and obviously the finish was very good. The first one anyway, and the penalty was obviously good too. But I would say the performance, coupled with the fact that he finally broke the ice in the scoring department, was really important for me. Let's get to some super chats. What's up, Ural, new YouTube channel member? What's up, Alberto? How you doing? Alberto says, thoughts on Brahim consistently being more effective when off the bench. I love the energy he brings. This is, I would say, true for the most part, but I don't necessarily think this is a Brahim thing. I think this is a game state thing that over the years, whether it was Camavinga and Rodrigo in 2022 or Brahim now or Goulet now or Endrick now, they're entering specific game states where defenders are more tired, the opponent is chasing the game, so there's just more space to work with. If you bring Vini off the bench, if you bring Mbappe off the bench, chances are they're going to look better than if they start. That's my take. I think it's a game state thing and not necessarily a Brahim thing. Look, we've seen Brahim play great as a starter before. Think back to Leipzig in Germany away from home when he scored that golazo, and also just played well throughout the game, where it was not a pretty game at all. But I think this is more of a game state thing than a Brahim thing in particular. Although obviously it was true that he was one of the worst players on the field against Las Palmas as a starter, and then he came in today and looked great. The line breaking to set up Vini that led to the penalty, that was a great sequence. And Giotti says, off topic, I was a YouTube member and thought I'd be grandfathered in like you said, but now I'm being asked to join again. Am I missing something? Yeah. YouTube, I was basically trying to figure this out. I was on YouTube support all day. I'm going to keep you guys updated on this. It's a little bit more complicated than the Patreon situation, but I'm going to message all the members separately and we'll figure this out later. All right. Fede, we spoke about. I mean, I just thought like the tempo that Fede brought in the second half was really good. Mendy, mixed bag. I don't think this was his best game. Looked press resistant at times on the ball, but his passing wasn't great. Had some good defensive sequences, slipped on some others. Rodrigo, I thought he played with some really good confidence and swag today. I thought his dribbling under pressure was really good. He looked a little bit more confident on the ball. He was linking up on the right and in the middle, sometimes on the left. I don't think he did that much defensively, and most of Abde on that wing had to be manhandled by Carvajal, but he also made some good runs into that right half space in the second half as well. Militao, much better today than last game, but Militao's actually had a really good season. The only slip up, I'd say, was that Las Palmas game, but other than that, he's had a good season so far. Carvajal, we spoke about. Rudiger, a couple really important sliding challenges actually on both sides of the field, and some decent ball carrying out of pressure as well. Tchouaméni, much better. Couple really strong challenges in zone 14, which were really important. I thought his cover shadowing and his ability to read passing lanes was much better. There were a couple times where his passing put Carvajal under too much pressure and he needed to put a more crisp pass or weight the pass a little bit better. But other than that, I thought this was a much improved Tchouaméni game. Real Betis, just talking about their defensive shape for a second, it was really interesting because they started with a high zonal press, which was kind of effective. But then you saw like we actually broke it with one or two passes early on. And then they started to go into a deeper mid block and they started to try to clog central channels, go narrow, and then just play a little bit more of a mid block, which I think actually helped them secure defensively a little bit. Their high press was a bit of a gamble. I think Pellegrini realized that and went into a mid block. But it was important to note that if we were very good with our ball progression, there were a lot of sequences where there was a ton of space behind Betis's initial line of pressing. So I thought we actually did a good job exploiting that a couple times, but then Betis just kind of retracted and went a little bit deeper. We spoke about Ceballos. We spoke about Brahim. Yeah. What did I miss, guys? I don't know. So you guys know that I've been doing a few of these solo pods. The next day for our members is when the staff are joining me right now. So tomorrow, Matt and I are doing a podcast for our members to reflect on this game. And by then, I will have rewatched this game a second time. I'm also writing about it tonight. And then Lucas and I are also doing another podcast on Tuesday for our members. So it'll be nice to get their perspective for sure. But Anthony Tharp on YouTube says, throwback, Fede Valverde, a top three in the world right now. Taking it all the way back to a Tony Cruz quote, legendary quote. Fede was great. Fede, the kind of guy with a two-way engine that, I would just hate playing against. And I'm thankful just having him in our team. Going to check the Managing Madrid Twitter account to see what Ancelotti is saying post-game in the press conference. Ancelotti says we were better today. We deserved this win. A lot of good feelings. Vinicius was very unselfish as he left the penalty to Mbappé. Their relationship is very good. Oh, bad news for all the people who were trying to create disunity in the media. Ancelotti also says we still weren't at our best, but we'll get there. The international break is not a good thing for us as we will lose players. I hope no injuries occur. I want the players to return fit. I mean, that's always a good point. Like, we're always dreading to see who comes back from the international break wounded. But in a couple cases, like the Bellingham situation and Camavinga, it buys them time to recover. And, at least we're not playing any games during, half of Bellingham being out. So that's the one plus, if there's any plus. No data from Mark StatSpot yet. Check to see if there's any data I missed. I always like to throw data in here. Okay, nothing released yet. I did want to play a clip for you guys. I have it ready. You guys ready? I'm going to press play on this, and then I'm going to react to it. This is kind of out in left field.
He's playing much better in everything. He feels that very detailed. I said last press conference, finish the training session, stay half an hour, 20 minutes, half an hour before to finishing short shots, first controls, and fit to a keeper. Last season, not even once was there. that he didn't feel good, was tired, he didn't feel niggles most of part of the season. Even with that was there. And at the end, he's so smart, he needs the team, and what you're going to do is to play better and better to give more balls in this final third. And I think with Rico, with Gundo, with Kevin, with Bernardo, with Makati is going to play, we're going to create that situations where they move really well in small spaces. Because the transition, the last goal, for example, or the first goal, Bernardo win the ball, pass the ball, and finish. The third goal with a space behind is unstoppable. There's no central defender, not even with, I don't know, with a gun. It's impossible. It's so fast, so powerful.
Wow, what? I thought that was hilarious because this is Pep Guardiola talking about no central defender can stop Erling Haaland, not even with a gun. Maybe he's right. I don't know. Maybe he's right. Oh, wait, who's this? Oh, Lord Nacho manhandling Erling Haaland last season. Oh, wait, there's another. Who's this? Antonio Rudiger bullying Erling Haaland off the ball. I could have sworn. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he was referring to mortals and not legendary defenders. I don't know. But I don't think these guys even needed a gun. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Guys, let's let's move on back to the game. Pavan Chavta says, I love the show, Keon. I would love to see you collab with the Global Madridista. He is another awesome English-speaking YouTube content creator. Yeah, actually, Miguel and I have been speaking over email over the last few months. I think we'll collaborate at some point. So that's in the works. We'll definitely collaborate at some point. Awesome. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have anything else on this game, to be quite honest with you. I just thought it was a feel-good win. I thought that it was desperately needed. 0-0 at halftime in any ordinary game in the Bernabeu is just does not have us feeling as anxious as it did today for variety of reasons that we already know about. So it was just nice to get the monkey off the back. And we hope that Mbappe's brace today is the first two of many in La Liga. And this is a streak we can put together now because we got a tough upcoming schedule. Our next two away games are Real Sociedad and Atletico Madrid. We got Champions League schedule out now too. So enjoy the international break, guys. We'll be back tomorrow for our members. If you're on YouTube, hit join underneath this channel or hit the memberships tab on YouTube. You can also go to patreon.com/managingmadrid. We'll be active there for the next couple of days. Matt and I are doing a show tomorrow for our members. Lucas and I are doing a show for our members on Tuesday. And that one is going to be live on Zoom, actually. So if you want to join us, you want to interact with us, you want to turn your camera on, mic on, and actually have conversations with us face-to-face, that's the place to do it. We look forward to seeing you on the inside for our members, guys. I appreciate you. And got to say it, man. Feels good today. Enjoy the evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And Hala Madrid.